Good morning, people. That sounded like a Phil Whitley intro, didn't it? Well, where are we at this morning? It's a bit of a mess at the moment. I'm having a tidy up because I'm having to move a lot of things around and shuffle things about as we progress with the mill. So there's the table. That's going on today. I've given it a good clean up and a tickle up with a stone. Why is it on the floor? Well, I'm preparing it to be lifted by the crane because that is incredibly heavy and I don't think I could position it properly just holding it by myself. It's too heavy. Now look at all this bench space I've got as I've started to move things out of the way and fit things. My goodness, I've got my bench back. The other thing that's going on today, let me show you, it's over here. That's going on today. Now that is the feed gearbox and motor. That was the first thing really that I stripped down and rebuilt on this machine, and it was prior to me having a presence on YouTube. So I'll try and slot some photographs in of the rebuild of that, which hopefully will interest you as well. So I think we'll carry on with the tidying up and the cleaning up, making everything ready to fit bits and pieces, and we'll bring you back after that. So before we fit this, I'll just give you a quick run around of it. You've seen it before in earlier films. I've actually run it up as well. I ran it up in my Steinmetz connection video, and I also ran it up using the little VFD that I've got that I use for testing motors when I ran the main motor. But this is the first component or major component of the mill that I stripped and rebuilt. So this is obviously the 8th horsepower feed motor and feed gearbox. So I stripped that motor down, I changed the bearings, I changed the oil seal in this end, and I also converted it to Delta because, as you can see here, look, you've seen it before, it doesn't have a junction box where you can swap the connections around. So I actually had to, as they say, dig out the star point and rewire the stator to Delta. So I did that. I stripped the gearbox down, cleaned it all up, replaced all the bearings, and obviously everything got repainted. The other thing that I did was I made these two knurled retaining nuts for the pick-off gears. The old ones, one was missing, but they'd also been fouling on the inside of the cover, as you can see there. So I just made two new ones of slightly smaller dimensions. And the way these work is they thread on, and then they've got a slot cut in them, like a Philadas stiff nut. Well, not a Philadas, like an Aerotight stiff nut. And then there's a small grub screw here. So you thread this on, and then you just nip that grub screw ever so slightly. It spreads the slot, which spreads the threads, and that locks it on, and it won't come off. So that's how that works. The way this the whole gearbox works is the motor drives in through the gearbox through an initial reduction stage, which then comes out of the box here through the pick-off gears back into the box onto a worm gear, which then drives a worm wheel onto which the lead nut for the X-axis lead screw is actually integral to that worm gear, and there it is in there. So that's where the lead screw passes through. So this is held on by, it's got this locating dowel here. This bit goes underneath the face of the saddle that we fitted yesterday, and this bit goes onto the front face, or the side face of the saddle rather, I should say. And it's held on with the ubiquitous, almost as ubiquitous as the quarter UNC, the 5/16 UNC bolt. So two long ones pass through this, put the camera on, it might help. 2 long ones pass through here, and then the 2 short ones go up through here. So I'll get everything ready now for fitting this and bring you back after that. It's probably worthwhile saying actually that, as I understand it, these pick-off gears, I only had the 2 when the mill came, but I'm going to run this off a VFD anyway, so I don't really need to worry too much about that to get the different feed speeds, or feed rates rather. But these pick-off gears, I believe, are the same as Myford change wheels. So yeah, there you go, a little piece of information for you. So we'll bring you back when we're in a position to start putting this beast on. So just a quick look at the saddle to show you where the gearbox goes. You can see there the gibs that we fitted yesterday, and then here you can see that's the hole for the dowel, the locating dowel. Then you've got the 2 5/16 UNC tapped holes, and then if we look at the top there, or the side rather, these 2 5/16 UNC tapped holes are where the long bolts go. There's another 5/16 UNC tapping here. What that's for, I don't know. I'm assuming it's for something else, for one of the many other iterations that there were of this machine. So I've got the electric ratchet there ready to go. I've got the bolts with a bit of grease on the threads. I'm using the electric ratchet because that gearbox is quite heavy and I can only hold it with one hand while I do this. So I need to hold it in position, get one bolt in there to secure it, and then we can do the rest of them. Oh, the other thing I've got to do is bit of shadow there. It's not very good, is it? Let's turn this light off. The other thing I've got to do is put a 90 on that grease nipple, on that, I keep saying grease nipple, stop saying grease nipple, on that lubrication nipple there. I need to put change it for a 90 because of course I'd forgotten when I put that lubrication mod in, I forgot that the gearbox sits there. So it'll be very difficult to get in with the oil gun for that. So we'll put a 90 in there as well. Right, here we go. I think I'll put the cover on it first. You can't see me, but I am here, I promise. Right, now this is right, here we go. This is it. Now the first attempt may just be a trial, so I might have to bring you back, but we'll see how we get on. I think I can cradle this. I think that's the dowel gone in. Right, if I put my arm under there, I can hold it while we get this in. Right, that's one in. It's going to hold itself on now. Right, thank goodness for that. Well, that went a lot better than I thought it was going to do. Let's get the next one in. Nip them up. Right, get the bottom ones in now. Oh, that looks well. I really like that. Yes. Now, this is a quiet milestone moment because, as I said before, this was the first component that I actually rebuilt, and it feels good to be fitting it back on, and it looks right. I did consider actually using my quarter drive air ratchet, but I know some of you listen to my films on headphones, so I thought I'd do you all a favour, spare you the sound of that on headphones. Right, look at that. I'm sorry, but yeah, you're going to have to allow me a few minutes of admiration time, because that is a beauty. I can't get over it. I'm going to have to though, because we need to crack on. Right, Now what would go on there is a control box with buttons on it. I'm going to leave that for now because that's all going to be different. Well, it'll be mounted in the same place, but it'll be a different box because obviously I'm going to be VFDing up the whole thing. And the wiring's a bit choice at the minute, but we'll get to that in due course. That's just what I did when I converted the stator to Delta, so I'd have some cables. I might put a junction box on the back of here or something like that and just run them into it and then feed it off to where it needs to go. Right, let's move on to the next part of the job. Oh, and I forgot to show you, look, I did put a 90 in there, and boy, did I regret not putting spanner flats on that adapter. So I'm just giving the saddle ways one more final clean with methylated spirits, and one final go over with the stone, and then another final clean, the final clean, and then we'll look at lifting the table into position. As I said to you yesterday, or in the last video, I keep saying yesterday, the last video, the hole here for the table lock, I'm going to have to put the table lock through there, and I'll somehow have to kind of jiggle it in as I'm manipulating the table on. The table will be on the crane because it's far too heavy to play around with it in that way, sort of trying to get things lined up. I'll just show you the gibs and the gib strips, so this is what they look like. Again, it's just a big chunky angle bracket. This one's got a cutout. This is the forward one. It's got a cutout in it for the lock to pass through, and it's just a flat gib. These are actually adjusted in an interesting way. There's a little sort of mechanism involving a couple of beveled pins and a ball that is used to adjust these. I think the way you're supposed to do it is that you're meant to put these on, well, actually it would go on that one, and then somehow try and slide the table from this end through the lock and through these, but I just don't see that as a goer, because it's just going to mean the gib will be sliding around in there. So I'm going to go for the option of lifting the table on first and then fitting all the gibs. So hopefully that'll work. But I'll just give this a stoning now, and then another clean, and then a lube, and then I'll get the table rigged up ready for the lift. Well, that's the stoning and the oiling done. I've got the lock in position there, the one that I made, and the table is rigged up, just about ready to lift. I'm using the same 3/4 ton Rudd eye bolt that I used before when I lifted the knee, and I've got that in a T nut in the T slots, which should be enough to pick it up. Quite a lot of weight on that T nut, but it'll be fine, it should be okay. So I'm going to go for some lunch now, and then I'll come back fortified. We'll get that picked up. Well, I'll have to pick it up manually first and put it onto the legs of the crane on a couple of pieces of plywood, and then we'll rig it up and lift it and get it in position. So after lunch we'll be fitting the table. So I suppose this is the X-axis rebuild commence, isn't it, really? So I've got the lifting eye mounted, as we spoke about. I put the table on top of this cardboard box that's pretty robust, and it's the cardboard box that's got the machine lamp in it. So I'll get it hooked up to the crane now, and then we'll get on and we'll get the table lifted up onto the saddle. Right, well, we're ready to go. So the idea will be, I'll try not to get in front of the camera. The idea will be to try and tilt the forward side of the table underneath the lock and then lower it onto the V-way at the back there. So that's the plan. Let's just see if it comes to fruition. Hopefully it will. Right, let's take the handle out of the crane first. Right, hang on a second. This isn't easy, I need to just shove it that way a bit. Which is easier said than done. How's it looking? Not too bad. Don't like it when it swings like that. Gives me palpitations. Right, let's get into a bit more. Right, that's kind of somewhere near now, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gingerly come down on that a little bit. Very slowly. See where that lands. I think it needs to go in a little bit more, actually. A little bit more. Let's see what that's like. Yeah, I think that's not far off. Let's come down a little bit. Okay, it's coming down. A bit quicker. You can probably smell the burning from there with the concentration I'm putting into this here now to try not to damage it. Right, that's sort of what I want. So that's gonna, yeah. So I think I need to come down a little bit more and then swing it behind the lock, and hopefully then up a bit, just a little bit. Right. Right, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I really want. Right, so down slowly there, I think, now. Right, let's have a look. So if I just keep coming down, the V-way should engage. Let's have a look. A little bit more. It's actually high at the back. That's the problem. I think that needs to be flat there, and then let's have a look at the back. Yeah, just keep coming down at that basically, and we should be good. Yeah, sliding into the V now, continuing down. And that's the weight off there. Right, so it's on. Right, we'll get the crane off and then we'll have a look at, oh, my head's been cut off. We'll get the crane off and then we'll have a look at what's next in terms of getting these gibs installed. Right, should get that off, okay. Right, there we go. Get the shackle pin out. Right, that went quite well, so I'll bring you back in a minute when we're going to be looking at the gibs. So the table's on, and it does slide quite nicely. backwards and forwards on the saddle ways. However, I have made a fundamental error, which I'll now show you. So it's impossible to fit the gib mounting brackets or strip when the table's on, because the bolts for them are completely inaccessible when the strip is mounted in position. However, it would appear that it is possible to take the gib, is the torch gone for a burn? It's possible to take the gib strip, which I'm holding in my hand, and if I come down here and show you, you can just about see the gap there. It is possible to slide that in before the gibs are adjusted. So that is what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to install those brackets first and then slide the table in from the side and then fit the gib strips. So this gib strip is tensioned up or tightened up by these 1024 UNC grub screws. So I'm just putting a 1024 tap through all the holes, and once I've done that, I'll bring you in a bit closer and I'll show you how this goes together, the way that the jib is tensioned up. So in a minute I'm going to show you how to how the this gib tensioning assembly goes together, but I thought I'd show you kind of this macro view now to show you how it works. So basically what we've got here is a 1024 UNC grub screw and with a jam nut on it, and what happens is that threads through a hole in the strip or in the bracket, and the thrust from that grub screw pushes on this wedge, and the wedge forces this ball upwards. So basically this wedge and ball mechanism is converting the thrust, or is basically transferring the thrust from this grub screw through 90 degrees up onto the gib strip and then pressing that onto the table. So I'll show you now how that actually goes together in the strip itself. So there you can see we've got one grub screw threaded in. So there's a hole 90 degrees to the bore that the grub screw goes through. So, and that grub screw hole is drilled right through. So in the back side of the grub screw hole is where we put the wedge. So that goes in there with the wedge portion facing towards us, and I'll just push that in with a pick so that it bears against the back of the grub screw like that, and make sure that the flat of the wedge is facing upwards. I don't know if you'll be able to see. You can just about see the wedge in there, look. Try and zoom in on it for you. So there's, come on, focus, there's the wedge in the hole with the grub screw bearing on the back of it. And then the ball slots in the hole like that, and you probably heard a little snap there, so that ball can't fall out, it'll stay in the hole, which is good for us because this is going to be mounted upside down from the way I'm holding it now. So what I'll do now is I'll get on and I'll assemble the rest of these, and then we'll bolt them to the saddle, and we'll have the take two of fitting of the table. Right, I'm going to assemble the rear jib strip onto the machine first. As I said, the balls will stay in place, or they should do. You can see them there, look. Now there was a bit of an issue with this one, the back one, in that I didn't seem to have enough components. There must have been some missing when I took it apart. I don't think I lost any, but there was a grub screw missing, there was a wedge missing, there was a ball. So what I've elected to do is assemble it anyway. I'll put the ball in there and it will stay put, and then at a later time I can manufacture a new wedge and get a new grub screw. But I've elected to carry on with the assembly just to keep the momentum going, basically. So those balls are all in position. They shouldn't fall out when I turn this upside down, but now watch them do it. So that's going to sit like that. See, that one's trying to fall out already. That's going to sit there. And then we'll get that bolted up with the ubiquitous quarter UNC. And then we'll do the front one. And then I'm going to have to, I think, slide the table in. This time from the side, which hopefully I've got access to do that. If I haven't, then we're going to have to move the machine, but I think I have. So the crane's not going to be any use because I'm going to have to pick up the table and actually slide it in manually. Right, let's have a look at all those balls. Load of old balls. Right, that one and that one, this one and this one are hanging down quite a lot. Oh, my balls are hanging. That's what she said. I think what I might do is, I know I've spent the last goodness knows how many months getting grease out of this thing, but I might have to put some in there to hold them in place. Right, I'll bring you back when we're lifting the table in. Right, don't ask me how I did that because I've no idea whatsoever. It was just one mammoth lift. I picked it up and in it went. First time without any issue whatsoever. I did it off camera because I really didn't fancy having my life-changing injury incident recorded for all posterity and on YouTube forever. So what we've got to do now is to get the gibs in, and let's have a look at doing that now. So here is the gib, and you'll see there's an X on it, if it'll focus. That's the way it's got to go in. So it goes in with the X facing this way, facing the other way. And that's, I can feel, oh yeah, it's going in. That could be problematic. It's hitting one of the balls. I think I just have to fiddle around with it. So I'm going to do that off camera. So proof, if ever proof were needed, that you can fix anything by hitting it with a hammer. All it needed was a nudge to push past the balls. And in it went. That's it. And that, I felt that almost detent into position there as it slotted into all the balls. So that's that gib in. So now we'll do the one at the back. I'm not going to show you that one. You can see what the score is with this one. Right, so I've kind of roughly set the gibs now to where I think they should be, and it feels pretty good. It's moving nicely, and it's really solid. It's really rigid. At least it feels that way. But then again, it is, you know, designed to be a horizontal milling machine, really. The fact that it's got a vertical head is why most people use them, but it's actually a horizontal machine. So I think I'm going to call the video at this point. I don't think I'm going to get much more done now, realistically. I'm running out of time because I'm going to be back at work in a few days. So with that in mind, thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for subscribing. If you aren't subscribed to the station, the channel even, please give me a try. You never know, you might like it. And give me a like if you've liked what I've been doing these past few days. And take care of yourselves, and I will see you all again next time.